I am so sick of having to constantly chop down wood. It sucks. It's not my favorite thing to do in this game of mining and crafting. Wood chopping, it's not in the name. So today we're going to make a massive step towards never having to chop down a small-sized tree ever again, my friends. It means we need to build a couple of other farms first, so we're not actually gonna get to the tree farm today, but we're gonna make a step. And that step requires of us to chop down a whole bunch of birch trees, next to some flowers of course, and gather up bee nests. I first tried to go and do it in a meadow biome because Google said meadow is where they spawn the most frequently, but that's actually only where they spawn naturally. When I came back to base and I did it in the mesa, I actually got just as many. So from all of that, I managed to get this, 10 beehives. The first 4 are what I got from the meadow biome. I only spent about 12 minutes in that meadow biome doing that, and then I changed tactics. I came back and I got 6 of them from, working here in my Badlands biome back here. I can actually show you the flowers are still in place. I only just finished doing this. Well, a couple of days ago, but it was the last time that I logged into Minecraft. So we've got 10 beehives, with which we're going to build honey farms. My friends, no, not one honey farm. No, we're gonna build both types in this video. But before I do that, I just want to come over here to the sugarcane farm that we built in the last episode and grab up a bunch of that. And come in for a dramatic landing, our creeper farm from the same episode, which, my friends, by the way, thank you. Thank you for all of the support on the last video. I am so happy. It is by far my most successful video on this channel, and I couldn't have been happier. The amount of new subscribers, welcome. I hope you enjoy the rest of these videos going forward. I need to make some more of these beautiful firework rockets, as many as I can afford right now. There we go. Because I've been filling up this box in between episodes, and I've got a chest over here where I intend to throw all of the spares. I'll take half of that. This is my emergency box that's gonna go in there, and I will always keep it stocked, well, as stocked as I think it needs to be, so that I can never be stuck anywhere without rockets. Because, my friends, thanks to this here sugarcane farm and this fabulous monument of a creeper farm that we built in the last episode, my elytra, it's a permanent part of my armor set right now. A lot more permanent than my chest plate. Because I can fly! Now, while for tree farms specifically, but any redstone-ish components in general, the only product from bees that I'm actually interested in is the honey, the bottles, right? That you can craft into the honey blocks. But, my friends, while we're working with bees, we might as well get the other bee product, the honeycomb, as well. For that we need 2 very different farms. We're going to start with the one on the left, which is the honeycomb farm, and by far the easier of the 2 types. Now there are a couple of different variations, orientations, etc., where you can place your observer or your dispenser in different areas or locations, right? I will, for the moment, pretend that this is a beehive, right? I'm just going to take that out of there, and to simulate what's going on here real quick, every time, my friends, every single time that the beehive changes state, when it gets more or less honey inside of it, more or less filled by the bees, the observer will fire, will trigger, which will fire the dispenser, right? So if I go ahead and I place that there, you see there it fired, and my bucket is no longer in there, it is now in here, which is exactly what we want, right? Excuse me. I mean, None of that isn't of particular interest to me, sir. So, because it really doesn't matter that a shear is attempted to use every single time a beehive changes state, because the shear will only be used if it can be used when the beehive is in its final state. Similar to how the automatic sheep farm worked that we built a couple of episodes ago in the background in between clips that I never really explained at all. Yeah, that one. The same cannot be said of bottles. Every single time a beehive changes state, a bottle will be spit out. Try and use it. We don't want that. We want a bottle to only be used when a beehive reaches its fourth and final state. Hence, the slightly more complicated design. This, I believe, is the most common one, and it is very similar to Impulse's storage system selection thing, right? When the beehive is in its empty state, it outputs no redstone signal. At the first stage of filling, it will output 2 lines of redstone. At its second stage, it will output 4, and then when it goes to its stage in which it is full, it will output 6. I think it's 6, it could be more than 6, I don't know. I think it is just 6. At which point, this block right here will fire, or will be powered and triggered, hence triggering the dispenser, triggering a bottle, and we get a honey bottle. I hope that I've explained these farms sufficiently. I'm terrible at explaining redstone because I barely understand redstone. But yeah, these are the 2 farms that we need to make use of. I think, since honeycomb is easier, I want to say, to get, you get 1 piece of honeycomb every time a bee nest is harvested, right? But you only get 1 honey block every 4 honey bottles you get. I think I'd like to make the honey bottle farm slightly larger than the honeycomb farm. And because I have 10, I think a fairly decent ratio for honeycomb to honey bottles, 4 to 6. I can live with that. Could do 3 to 7, but 3 and 7 hard to distribute shears and or honey bottles with those numbers. I think these even numbers will work nicely. I've got all of my redstone bits. I have a ton of glass bottles ready. I've got my bee nests already. I think it's time that I build these farms, and I was thinking right here, because these farms are slow, particularly the honey bottle farm, I'm gonna want to be able to AFK at them. So I've placed my AFK platform here-ish, which means that the sugarcane farm and the gunpowder farm are both in range of my AFK spot. Which means I think I want to build my honey bottle farm in particular, because it's the more important one of the 2, within range of this AFK spot as well. So today we're going to take this road out here. I'm probably not going to build it immediately here because space is a little limited. I might do a market or something here at a later stage, but I'm thinking up here at the back we can build our honey farms up against this, or up on top of this little hill next to that border. We get to continue some buildings here into the back and create something intriguing to look at over there. And I've started to do that. As I said, I extended the road out and I've kind of started to build something up here. I had to start building because I had to. When you do lay out farms like this inside of buildings, you have to have an idea of the footprint of your building as well as the size of the farms. And those 2 things kind of happen in tandem, at least for me. So let me show you what I've got. I've got here on my left the honey bottle farm. And this, I imagine kind of as a residence, which will be on the lower level. This is going to be a floor level for an upper level, right? A level of a level of a level. Yeah, that stuff. And that is where my chest to refill all of my dispensers with honey bottles will be placed. So I'll have to go up to the top level to refill all of my dispensers, but they are there. They should be fairly well filled in at this point. And of course, the sun is setting up to there. Everything is backed up. So it's only this last one that doesn't have a whole lot of reserve. But I've got librarians, I can just go and trade some more glass with them. Looking at this farm though, I've got all of the redstone here at the back. It takes up a lot of space to squeeze all of this in here. So I've kind of built... I like working in odd numbers, right? So I've got a 7 wide interior space, which does mean that I am actually going to be dividing my bee nests 7-3. But that's okay, it actually has been working out kind of nicely with the single load chest. Just means a couple more hoppers. So redstone here in the back, and I'm going to build this in, close it in, we'll do texture variation like we do with all of my builds, right? I like putting in the stripped logs and the stairs and the windows and things. Yeah, all of that's gonna come in here as well eventually. Glowstone on the ends just because I think we need some light in there. There wouldn't be any other light ever. And then out back is where I've put the honeycomb farm. Now I think, let's go back a little bit, right? The honey bottle farm has hoppers over here, and I'm going to be placing the bee nests on top of those hoppers. For some reason, these farms work in such a way that when the honey bottle pops out, it doesn't pop forward. It just gets sucked up by the hopper immediately. Fantastic. It's magic. Arcane in Minecraft. I don't know. Those hoppers actually run down to the bottom and lead to this dropper. It's a dropper, not a dispenser, which just has a very simple, standard, ancient redstone circuit that if anything is in it, it spits them out one at a time, and they go to this bubble elevator over here and this is going to be our honey bottle storage. It's kind of in the shape of a big barrel, which will get us to the theme of the overall build a little bit later in this video. But this is kind of a front garden where the residents can be accessed from here in there, right? The upper level will not be accessed from here. We'll put an access for that elsewhere. I need to cover this up again, and we can decorate this little private garden area, and we'll give it a gate. Initially, the plan was for this to be the main entrance to the whole structure, and I was going to give it a nice grand gate here, but I think that I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to tone this down, make it a bit more subtle, not the primary entrance. But again, we'll get there when we start doing the decorating. If we continue past the footprint of the build at the back, I was thinking to make it a bit more interesting, we're going to have a tower, a stone tower, right? That is actually going to rise up quite a bit above this purple roof, but that's just because of the slope. This building sits higher. That doesn't mean it's bigger. This is much bigger. Anyway, so I'm going to encase this whole thing in a stone tower. It's going to go up, probably higher than the rest of the build, and this is where the honeycomb farm is. Redstone, much simpler. As I explained earlier in the video, we've just got an observer, redstone on top of it, and redstone on top of this block. This block gets powered, it powers the dispenser. The dispensers don't have shears in them yet, but I will fill them with shears, and we're going to put our bee nests over here. Now I cannot put my bee nests in yet, because I want to texture vary this building here. I think bees can escape through here, I'm not certain. So I need to have the basic shell of the areas where the farms are gonna go done before I can put the bee nests in. And then I'm thinking I'll put the bee nests in at night so that the bees don't come out immediately, and I have time to put some glass in front of them because I like to be able to see my bee nests. But that does mean that we'll do the bee nests last. And for now, you should be hearing some music going, my friends, because it's that time of the video. I cannot do a video and not give you a time lapse. It is currently nighttime out there, so I think that it is safe enough for me to real quick pop down all of these bee nests. Like so, and then I've got some glass that I would like to use just to cover this up. Now we don't have to worry about the bees ever getting out. There we go. Should be, they really shouldn't be able to get out the top. I still need to do something there. Hey, there we go. Once I sleep, all of the bees pop out and feverishly start working. Fantastic. I think that they should also have popped out at the honeycomb portion. Let's have a look-see. Yep, there they are. Fantastic. You know what else is pretty fantastic? My friend, it's the end results of this. I'm so happy. I had my doubts. I really did. There's a lot of brown. It's very muddy. But I think it's okay. Because of the vibrant green and the thick trees, I think that's right. And the glow lichen, it was a last minute touch. I don't think that was part of the time lapse. I might have added it afterwards, but I really like the little stony crackling effect that it gives to it, as if the mud is a plaster laid on top of stone that's starting to crack and peel off. I did the inverse on the other little back tower. I don't know if I necessarily like that as much as I like this. But I'll leave it. That's alright. I'm not going to be changing anything on this build just because, my friends, I intend for there to be many buildings in this area and I like the variety. Similarly to how that density over there is going to be contrasted quite heavily by some more urbanization elsewhere, where there's not going to be a big wall of bushes everywhere. Here we've got a building, which may or may not yet still be bushified eventually. I don't know. I'm thinking market. But it's been a little bit. I ended up actually placing all of this in before I did any of the interior work. And I did interior work that isn't a farm. Can you believe it? But that does mean that I've got a fair bit of this stuff here. Now, unfortunately, for me to get one stack of honey blocks, I actually need 16 stacks of honey bottles, I think, if that math checks out. Because you only get 16 honey blocks out of 4 stacks of 16. Yes, it's a very slow process. Anyway, I can also show you the honeycomb has been working beautifully as well. Even 3 might be too fast. I don't know what I'm ever gonna do with that much honeycomb, aside from maybe walks. I'm gonna walks some capper. I can't speak. Though I did an interior. It doesn't look like much down here. This is the main entrance. It has a painting and it has an emergency bed that I can come and sleep at when night falls unexpectedly. It's just an entrance. There isn't much room. I was thinking of putting a little, like a receptionist desk or something down here, but I decided against it. It's straight up just an entrance that leads up into a tavern. Yeah, I've got paintings all over the place. Well, all over the place. I've got a handful of paintings in place. Lot of tables. They're very dense and closely packed, which I think is okay. No, these sorts of places want to squeeze as much out of their floor area that they can. I'm missing some things, like I want to put some flower pots with flowers in over there, but I might do that in between episodes if I remember. I really like what I did here. The hanging signs are working very well as furniture for me. Not really as signs. I used them as railings on a previous build, and here they're just kind of holding up the bar. I like it. I like it a lot. I've also spent a lot of time trading with my librarians to fill up all of this. There's so much glass bottles in here, my friends. I will never run out of glass bottles in this farm. Ever. Ever. It's not possible. Especially since you get the glass bottles back after you craft the honey blocks. I've also put a brewing stand in here. I think this might be where I do the majority of my brewing for the time being. I need to hop down, emergency bedtime. And out back, I've not done anything just yet. I was thinking of building a garden over here, but I think I'll build that garden when I build the next set of buildings out here. I think I'm going to expand in this direction in the coming episodes. Maybe. I don't know what I'm doing in the next one yet. Leave your comments, your suggestions in the comments, those things. I'll read them, and maybe we'll build something that you guys want to see built in this world, in the next one. I like it. I really, really like it. My friends, it's a beautiful little build. I'm happy. I hope you're happy. I didn't put roofs. Let me talk about that real quick. I was afraid that this building would overall be taller than our library, which it can't be. It really shouldn't, because the library is grand. It's going to be one of the biggest buildings in this village, in this town, city. I don't know how big it's going to get. So its tower point needed to be tall, and hence I decided to not put a little pointed roof on these things. They might still have been lower than the library, but I just figured, let's give them these castle crenellation toppers instead of that. I like it. I like it. My friends, I've had a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as well. We're going to end it here. We're calling it quits. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then, have an absolutely brilliant one. My friends, thank you for watching.